siniestro horrible, la verdad.
We move on now, and the Chinese President Xi Jinping has told British Prime Minister Keir Starmer that Beijing is ready to develop a long-term and comprehensive strategic partnership with Britain. The comments came during talks at the Great Hall of the People on the most important day of Starmer's fourth-day visit to China, the first by a British Prime Minister in 8 years. Starmer said he wanted to build a more sophisticated relationship with China to boost both economic growth and security, calling China a vital player on the global stage. The two leaders held an extended meeting before lunching together, with Starmer also due to meet Premier Li Qiang. The visit signals a potential reset after years of strained ties as Western nations step up engagement with China amid uncertainty over US policy. Joining us now is Andrew K.P. Leung, a China strategist, joining us live from Hong Kong. Thank you very much for joining us, Andrew. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. And this, of course, is the first visit by a British Prime Minister to China in 8 years, after a period marked by disputes over Hong Kong, Xinjiang and technology security. Is this visit best understood as a genuine strategic reset or a pragmatic thaw driven by economic reality?
Well, this visit must not be seen in isolation, just in terms of bilateral relations between the UK and China, but in the context of the global geopolitical landscape, because you can see that the Prime Minister of Canada is also recalibrating relationship with China, and then a host of European Union leaders are making a beeline to Beijing, but also not just to China. For example, Canada is now developing relationships with the Global South, with other continents, and the European Union just signed the mother of all free trade agreement with India. So you can see that the traditional American allies, they are all recalibrating relationship because the reliance on the United States has proven to be much less reliable and unpredictable, apart from the fact that President Trump is imposing huge tariffs, targeting as allies, even traditional allies, and even the long-established transatlantic relationship between the United States and Europe, including, of course, including the United Kingdom, has now been broken. So this visit of Starmer is a reaction to this broken global landscape of international relations with the United States. And of course, the UK is not embracing China entirely. There are, of course, deep-seated ideological and other differences. But I think that Starmer stressed the importance of controlling differences, but yet developing relationships on specific projects, on trade, on investment, green energy, climate change, and so on.
Andrew, and of course, as you said, this can't be seen in isolation. Due to the frequent visits that we've seen from Western allies in recent months, you've got the likes of France, you've got, of course, Canada, Ireland, and you've got Germany next month visiting China. However, the UK remains closely aligned with the United States on security, like the countries I've just mentioned, while seeking these stronger economic ties with China. But can Britain and these other allies deepen engagement with Beijing without creating any friction with Washington?
Well, as the Prime Minister Starmer pointed out, this recalibration with China doesn't mean that the United Kingdom is choosing China in preference to the United States, because nowadays countries are linked together regardless of whether they are allies or adversaries. There are, of course, differences even between allies, and what we're seeing is that the Trump is now belittling long-established allies with countries like European Union states as well as the UK. But that doesn't mean that the UK likes to delink from the United States. The United States remains to be a very important market and a very important partner for its own security. But then this old rhetoric of either black and white, dividing the whole world into camps, doesn't square with reality, because even though perceived rivals can work together on specific projects, and also even allies are now being, the relationship is now fractured. So I think that we're seeing a more multipolar, interconnected world where recalibration relationship is the key.
Yes, Andrew KP de Young, thank you very much for taking the time and joining us. Of course, it always is a pleasure to hear what